let's just start general. Give us the analysis of what do you see out of the front nine.
We're definitely getting better. Still, we got a lot of guys back, but it's not like we're a bunch of fourth and fifth year seniors. We still making some mistakes. We're going out there every day and we're learning. Really, at this point at camp, trying to put a lot of pressure on them. For instance, in the spring, if we have a guy that jumps off sides, hey, let's go to the next play. But now at this point, it's pressure. It's like you got to try to teach these guys, the young guys that's played a year. We've had Zach for 2. Wyatt's got 1 year under his belt. Doug's played 1 year for us. You look at these guys, and Hubbard's played none, and then you got Yates who started a couple years. But at the same time, we're trying to put pressure on doing the little things right, because you guys all know as well as I do, you can't go out there and play with 4 linemen. You play with 4 linemen, and it's a long day. So really putting a lot of pressure on doing the little things right. Attention to detail. Physically, we're way better. Wyatt's way stronger than he was. Frazier's stronger. Doug's gotten himself in better shape. Just all the whole room has gotten physically more to what we're trying to get to. But now it's about attention to detail with your footwork, with your hand placement, with your eyes, not having holding calls. We've had way too many of those in the past couple days. Not having offsides. We had a couple encroachment. A couple of offsides penalties in the scrimmage the other day. We got to fix that. We can't have it. We can't come out there and do that. So that's a big part of trying to get that fixed. But definitely making improvements and starting to see this group come together. They're a tight knit group, and playing hard we're putting that at a premium for our room.
Looks like right tackle is a battle. So what's your analysis between Jaquay and Brandon?
It's really Jaquay plays really, really hard. He just gets his body out of position, makes some mistakes, some mental mistakes. That's what we're trying to fix. And with Yates, it's more of a being physical enough. He doesn't play as physical. He's kind of a finesse guy. He's real athletic. Doesn't play as physical as he needs to all the time. So that's what I'm trying to get out of both of those guys to fix those things. It's going to make us a lot better at the right tackle spot.
And Wyatt in here last week. Your thoughts on where Wyatt is right now?
Yeah, I love to watch him in interviews. It's awesome, yeah. He's really making a lot of progress. Like I said, the offseason was big. He came in here as a true freshman last year. He kind of played in and out early, took over the job about halfway through the year, but still physically wasn't where we wanted him to be. He's got a really, really great motor, plays really, really hard, and just watching him mature and just watching him get better and continue to get stronger. Super competitive kid, totally different kid on the field than he is when he's sitting up here talking to you guys. And that's one thing I really like about him. When he crosses that line, he's out for blood, and he plays really, really hard. Fun to coach. And we just got to keep progressing. That's the thing with those guys that are good early. Hey man, it's not what you've been is not good enough. You got to keep pushing them and finding ways to fix things and finding things they got to fix and continuing to work hard.
His best attribute, you think?
Athleticism. Athleticism is definitely his. He can stay on his feet. Does a phenomenal job with his hands. Huge baseball background, so really good eye-hand coordination. Better at the left side because he's left-handed. He just feels more comfortable over there on the left side. So that's been really nice to move him over there and see him take to it the way he's done in this offseason and during spring and during the summer.
You mentioned guys having early success. Zach Frazier has had a lot of early success. Where have you seen him grow last year?
Frazier's really grown with, of course, he's a weight room junkie, strength. He's so much more athletic and faster than what people really give him credit for because he's really just looks like a mover, you know what I mean? Runs real well, but really his understanding and his getting us all, because the way he identifies things, it all starts with him. And he and I sit down and him seeing leverage of linebackers and safeties and, the tilt of D linemen and the way they line up. There's so many little things that he's starting to see so much faster. Last year he could see it on film, but this year he's doing a really good job of seeing it on the field and communicating with those other guys, because that's the thing is you got to see it, and if you just see it, it doesn't help you. You got to make sure everybody sees what you see. And that's the good thing about going against our defense is we do see so much movement that it gives us reps every day of seeing that stuff. So really, his knowledge of the attention to detail, little things of the game, is really taking him to a different level. And he's a guy you got to continue to push because as you're coaching that O-line, and that's the way it goes for every O-line. The best players get coached the least a lot of times because you got these other guys that are making mistakes, and so we really make it a point to hone in on him and make sure we're correcting mistakes that he's making too, and pushing him to get better at little things.
As a leader as well?
Definitely growing as a leader. Had a big day today. We go out. We have a really awful beginning of practice, and I put it on him. I circled him up. I said, Zach, you got him. Get them ready to go, for the second half after break. And I just walked out, and I said, look, man, you got it, because we want a player-led team here, and everybody respects him, and he did a great job of stepping in that huddle and getting those guys ready to go. And we go out there on the field, and we go down and have a really nice opening drive, running the ball really well. So he's really growing as a leader.
Matt, where are you in terms of depth? How many guys you think could play September 1?
That's good. I've been playing Jay Wyatt's played a lot with the one group the past couple days, and that's kind of I've forced that to happen. I wanted that to happen, and he's done well. He's shown that he can get in there and play. So that's a 6 guy. You got Hubbard and Yates over there. You want both of those guys to really step up and keep battling to feel good about both of them. So that would be a 7th guy. And really, Tomas Remick has really done a good job. I put him at the starting spot in a couple drills the other day. He was out there today the whole time, starting at the starting guard, and did a really nice job at that spot. So that's 8 guys. I'm looking for 2 more. Malone's been really solid at the left guard, left tackle spot, so that's been good to see. So, really, and I've been working from a center standpoint. I'm trying to get it where I've got 4 guys that can work there. With a lot of our walkthrough stuff, I make Doug play center, I make Gamitter play center, I make Jay White play center. So, because there's so much about the cadence and about all that stuff, you throw a new guy in that hadn't worked at all, and you got everybody jumping off sides, you got all this movement. So, I'm feeling like if I can get 8 that I know are really ready to play, where I can have 3 on each side, you know what I mean? A guy that can be swing both sides, and then have 2 centers, I'd feel really good about that.
Jordan White, your Swiss Army knife?
Well, it's he and Malone, really. Jordan can't go to tackle. Jordan can play all 3 inside spots. And Malone can play either guard or tackle, can't play center. I can't say he can't. I've never put him in there. He'd be upset if I said he couldn't. He didn't give me the chance, Coach. But, but he can play all 3 middle spots.
So you have 2 really that are pretty versatile, give you more multiple player on one type deal?
Yes, and Doug can really play. Doug's the guy that can play all 5. Okay. Doug can snap. He can play guard. He can play tackle. So he's really coming on. We've put him at the tackle spot a couple times at the right tackle, just because as O-line, you want to make sure, and as you never know what's going to happen, and so you got to make sure you got guys that can play multiple spots. So he's done a really nice job of being able to play all 5.
I think maybe with Doug, maybe we're a little bit. You played with a broken arm for part of it kind of slow him down a little bit, maybe affect him a little bit more than we thought.
Oh yeah, for sure it did. It was tough. It was tough for him not to be able to use his hand, and that's and credit to every defense we played. They did a great job in 3rd down of getting him one-on-one with an athletic guy, and he struggled. He gave up some sacks and stuff where he couldn't get his hands on people. But he never, Doug never used it as an excuse. He never said, "Oh, but my hand." That's the kind of kid he is. He just kept working, and once he got off, had a really good second half of the year, and has had a really good camp so far.
Everybody talks on offensive linemen about size, strength, using the hands, eyes. Very seldom hear anybody talk about their feet, yet that has to be an important part of what being an offensive lineman.
No doubt. You got your feet. Everything we do starts with feet. And when we start teaching day one, these young guys, I don't say anything about their upper body. You got to get their feet right. And we try to drill them on footwork so much that they can't get it wrong. It's got to be muscle memory where they're not thinking about it. So we do a lot of the same drills all season, all winter, all spring, all summer. They're working the same footwork over and over and over, and we work right-handed stances, left-handed stances. I try to make them feel good about being able to move around and do the footwork from everywhere. But, yes, you're right. Footwork is number one when it comes, whether it's pass pro or run game. You got to get the feet right.
Matt, as Gamitter come back? Has Gamitter come back?
He'll be back tomorrow.
You had, usual suspects, 5, 6 guys that you knew were going to fall into those top 5 spots. You don't want him to miss time, but someone has to fill there. It sounds like you got more at Jordan, and it gave you an opportunity you might not have under ordinary circumstances. Kind of in an odd way, a bit of a positive for you from an evaluation standpoint.
Yeah, no doubt. You're exactly right. It let me put, because I'm a competitive person by nature, right? So when we're out there going ones-on-ones, I'm gonna put the guys in there. I want to beat the defense. You know what I mean? We want to win. So when something like that happens and a guy's got to miss a couple days, it's good. It makes me take that other guy. Hey, let's let him step up. Next man mentality. We had a couple guys that were out today for one had a blister, one had this, and I next man up, and we ended up having a really good end of the scrimmage with guys that's been playing third and fourth team. I had a true freshman come in today, play with the second team. And Charlie did a great job. Katarinkik came in at right tackle, did a great job. We had 2 drives with the 2s, and he put together 2 really good drives and did a really nice job. So it's good to see these young guys, man. They're coming along over camp, and these freshmen that just got here, and they're starting to learn, and things are slowing down, and they're starting to feel like, hey, I can do this, because it's a lot of stuff to learn in that first 3 weeks of camp. Feels like 3 months.
What do you see out of some of those true freshmen and evaluate them, even if they're not necessarily ready to play?
I see Mo Hamilton as a super twitchy, athletic kid. He's going to be a really good player, and I don't know if he's a guard or a tackle, but he's not real tall like a tackle, but he's super long armed, really athletic. Once we sit down and we're able to develop him over this season, he'll be a guy that's going to be battling for a spot next year. I see Sully Weedman. Huge, runs really well, good feet. He's going to be a guy. He's already 318 pounds. He's a good-looking kid at 318. He's a guy is going to continue to progress and have a chance to play in the a chance to compete in the spring. Landon Livingston, he's going to be a center. He's really smart. He's athletic. He moves real well. He's 280. So it's going to take some time. I had another center a couple years ago that came in at about 280, and he's done pretty good. So I think we'll get the weight on him. Coach Joseph is really good at that. We'll get the weight on him, but he's super athletic. He bends well. And like I said, Charlie, really the highest football IQ guy and understands the game, does a really good job. Went in there today. Like I said, I was really proud of him. I think he's a guy that can continue to develop his body and can help us. We're going to have, we're just trying to build depth in this room because you guys know the way the portal goes, man. You got to get guys and you got to develop them and you got to keep them.
Get too far ahead here, but your week 1 opponent loves to blitz. That's their deal. Have you had to introduce that yet, or is that still after the second?
Introduce that in June.
There you go.
Yeah, and look, guys, they're really good up front. We are going to have to play. Every one of my guys are going to have to play their A game to be able to stay in that stadium with these guys because they are really good up front. They play really, really hard. Their linebackers are downhill players. Their defensive coordinator does a phenomenal job of stopping the run, does a great job of blitzing the run, loves to get people in 3rd and long. He's got all kinds of crazy blitzes out of 3rd and long, and it's one of those things where it's a challenge. I told my guys, we talked about it today. Hey, man, there's going to be, 70 what? Well, how many? 76,000? What's in the stadium? 67, that's right. So, there's going to be 67,000 people there, man. You better get ready because you're going to be going against some of the best people you're going to go against all year, maybe your whole career, and we got to be ready to go. We can't make mental mistakes. We can't put our eyes in the wrong spot. We can't overset. We can't get our hands outside. And that's what I was starting with is like, hey, we got to get to where that's what we're thinking because these guys are really, really good. And we're going to have to be, like I said, we're going to have to play our best to be able to stay in that stadium with them up front. And that's where the pressure is. That's where they're best, and that's where we got to be. We got to step up, and we got to play really well.
To follow up on that, they're arguably the best the defensive front that you may face all year.
There's no argument.
So I was wondering, week 1, what is it like to go against that type of unit, against maybe your toughest challenge all year in week 1 as opposed to midway?
It's like pressure right now. Like a lot of times, you go play a 1AA first game. It's like, you want them to do what they're supposed to do. But now it's like every snap, it's on film. It's pressure of like, You can't go out there and go through a period and just think, hey, man, I'm just going to get through. You got to, in your mind, you got to think, hey, guys, this is the first drive, opening drive versus Pitt right here. That's the kind of what you got to have. You better have butterflies. You better have, and that's what you got to think about and try to put them in those situations of like, you're fixing to go against some really, really good people, and you better be ready to go because they are going to play hard. They're going to play fast, and they've been playing together for a while, and they're going to be really, really good.
How much of an advantage is it to have, at least in that matchup in week 1, to have, your offensive line also at least have that year of playing together under the belt as opposed to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The communication and stuff, I feel good about. I feel really good about knowing what to do. Getting it done is what we got to do. You know what I mean? I feel really good about, in the years past here, I've been like, we got to make sure we're all on the same page and all that stuff. But I feel like we're on the same page. But we just got to go out and we got to perform. We got to play to the best of our ability, and we got to perform versus a quality opponent. As I told my guys today, I hope that's why you came here, because there's a lot of schools you could go to where the first game's not going to be a big deal, where nobody's going to write about you if you miss a sack. But I guarantee you give up a sack and third and long in this game, there's a lot of people that's going to remember you for a long time, and that's pressure. But that's what it's about. That's why they're here.
Dylan Ray, we see him out there getting a lot of reps with twos even.
Dylan Ray is really coming along for a young guy. Really coming along. He was a really young freshman. I think he was a 17-year-old freshman. Really young guy, comes from obviously a really good pedigree, and he's continuing to grow. So he's making mistakes, but he's learning from them. He's fixing them. He's a tough kid. He's going to work. He's going to be fine. I don't know if I don't think he'll be a guy you'll see in the mix this year, but he's continuing to work and continuing to get better, and he's going to be a good football player around here for years to come.
Not as big as his dad.
He's not there yet. I saw his dad here the other day. He's a big human being now. But he may get there. I don't know. He still doesn't shave. So I think he's 290 now, 6'5", 290, and still not shaving. So I think he's still got a little room to grow.
I was around when he was here. They used to have to weigh him over at Kroger's.
Biggest hands I've ever shook,
Big dude.
Oh, big.
Okay, anything else for Coach? All right, thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.